From survival mode to sacred softness, the journey to healing. When I first had the opportunity to interview Nicole Hudson, I was struck by something far beyond her impressive credentials or accomplishments. There was a luminous quality to her presence, a rare combination of strength and gentleness that immediately told me, here is someone who has done the work. Here was a woman who had not just survived life's crushing challenges, but had alchemized them into a powerful mission of healing for herself and countless others. Nicole's impact on making the world better isn't measured merely in professional accolades, though she has many. Her true genius lies in how she's modeled the journey from survival to thriving, illuminating a path that many of us didn't even know existed. What Nicole shared with me was revolutionary in its simplicity, not because it required advanced degrees to understand, but because it was so fundamentally true that many of us have forgotten it. Healing begins with loving ourselves completely. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time you truly embraced every part of yourself? Not just the polished, presentable parts you showcase on social media, but the messy, complicated parts you hide even from yourself. Most of us are walking around with invisible armor so heavy we've forgotten we're wearing it. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means never showing vulnerability, that success means constant productivity, that worth means endless achievement. We're exhausted, running on fumes, surviving on coffee and willpower, yet somehow convinced that stopping to breathe means we failed. I see you nodding. I see the recognition in your eyes, the slight shift in your posture that says, yes, this is me. This is what I call survival mode, and it's killing us softly, one missed moment of joy at a time. The cruel irony about survival mode is that it once served us beautifully. It protected us when protection was necessary. It got us through impossible situations that required all our strength. But at some point, a point many of us miss, what once saved us starts to suffocate us. The very armor that shielded us becomes the cage that confines us. Nicole Murphy knows this journey intimately. As a visionary Black entrepreneur who founded Barter Black, she faced systemic obstacles that would have crushed many: lack of access, underrepresentation, limited resources. The odds weren't just stacked against her, the entire game wasn't designed with her in mind. But Nicole did something remarkable that defied conventional wisdom. She didn't just push through these barriers with more force, more hustle, more of the same survival strategies that leave so many of us burned out. Instead, she began a process of deep self awareness. She recognized the gaps in support networks for marginalized founders and committed herself not only to personal growth, but to collective upliftment. This wasn't just about business strategy, this was about healing, healing the narratives about what was possible for her as a Black woman inventor, healing the generational patterns of having to work twice as hard for half as much, healing the belief that her worth was tied to her productivity. And from that healing came something extraordinary. Nicole secured a design patent, joining the mere 0.3% of patents held by Black women. Let that number sink in: 0.3%. She launched a platform that now supports hundreds of businesses. But most importantly, she shifted from surviving to thriving, from reacting to creating. This is what self awareness and self love can do. It doesn't just change your inner landscape, it transforms how you show up in the world. It doesn't just heal you, it heals the spaces you occupy. But how do we begin this journey? How do we move from survival mode to what I've come to call sacred softness? Nicole's insights point us to something profound yet rarely discussed in professional settings: reconnecting with our inner child. There's a little girl inside each of us who had dreams before the world told her to be practical, who felt joy before she learned to be guarded, who knew how to rest before she was taught that her value lay in her productivity. That little girl is still there, and she's waiting for you to notice her. When Jasmine Nicole co founded The Nice Plant during the height of the pandemic, she was facing circumstances that would have justified staying in survival mode: economic instability, supply chain disruptions, emotional stress from global events. Yet instead of pushing harder, she and her co founder chose a different path. They prioritized mental health through wellness products rooted in nature. They leaned on self reflection practices. They built resilience together. Their business idea was born from needing peace at home amid chaos outside, a perfect metaphor for the inner work of healing. What Jasmine discovered was that tending to her inner garden, listening to the needs of her inner child, nurturing the parts of herself that had been neglected, didn't make her less effective as a founder. It made her more whole, more creative, more resilient. Their business thrived despite adversity because they weren't just surviving, they were living from a place of wholeness. They were showing up fully, not fractionally. This is what happens when we reconnect with our inner child. We don't just survive, we live out loud with grace. We transform how we show up in the world for ourselves and others. I want you to try something with me right now. Close your eyes for a moment if you can, or simply turn your attention inward. Imagine yourself as a little girl. What does she need from you today? What would make her feel safe, seen, loved? What joy has she been missing that you could restore? That conversation between your adult self and your inner child is the beginning of healing. But here's where it gets even more powerful. When we shift our mindset from survival to thriving, we don't just change our own lives, we create ripple effects that transform our communities. Nicole Leinbach's story illustrates this beautifully. As the founder of Retail Minded, she navigated rapid changes in retail technology while competing against corporate giants like Amazon, all while balancing motherhood and multiple professional roles. The old survival mindset would have said, work harder, sleep less, push through. Instead, Nicole advocated for continuous learning. She embraced technology creatively instead of fearing it. She supported other female leaders through networking platforms. Her mindset shift from fearfulness about competition and technology toward proactive adaptation didn't just help her business, it helped countless small businesses stay afloat or grow amid shifting markets. This is the power of collective healing. When one woman breaks free from survival mode, she creates permission for others to do the same. She becomes living proof that another way is possible. I see this happening in communities of Black women across the country. Women who have carried families, led organizations, held down households, supported churches, all while making it look effortless. Women who have been praised for their strength but rarely asked about their pain. Women who have been surviving for so long they've forgotten there's another way to live. These women are now whispering, then talking, then shouting a new truth. We deserve to thrive, not just survive. We deserve rest without guilt, joy without justification, peace without apology. This is not selfishness. This is sacred. When we heal ourselves, we heal our lineage backward and forward. We heal the mothers who couldn't rest because they were too busy ensuring our survival. We heal the daughters who are watching us to learn how a woman treats herself. The mindset shift from survival to thriving is revolutionary. It says, I am worthy of peace right now, not when I've checked everything off my list. It says, my value is not in what I produce, but in who I am. It says, I can set boundaries with love and still be loved in return. This shift doesn't happen overnight, it's a practice, a daily choice, a moment by moment remembering of your worth. Looks like saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what fills you. It looks like asking for help instead of priding yourself on doing it all alone. It looks like rest that isn't earned but taken as your birthright. It looks like joy that isn't scheduled but welcomed whenever it appears. It looks like loving yourself, not for what you do, but for who you are. The women I've mentioned today, Nicole Murphy, Jasmine Nicole, Nicole Leinbach, they aren't exceptional because they've never struggled. They're exceptional because they've transformed their relationship with struggle. They've moved from being defined by their challenges to being refined by them. And that's available to all of us. So I challenge you today. What would change in your life if you shifted from survival mode to sacred softness? What would heal in your body that's been holding tension for years? What relationships would transform if you showed up from wholeness rather than depletion? What dreams might come alive that survival mode has kept dormant? The world doesn't just need more women who survive. The world is desperate for women who thrive, who show us all what's possible when we drop the armor and embrace our full humanity. When we stop apologizing for taking up space and start celebrating the space only we can fill. Your healing isn't just about you, it's about everyone your life touches. It's about breaking cycles that have persisted for generations. It's about creating new possibilities that those who came before us couldn't even imagine. So take that first step today. Have that conversation with your inner child. Set that boundary. Take that rest. Choose that joy. Not because you've earned it, but because you were born deserving it. The revolution will not be televised, but it will be felt in bodies that finally relax, in minds that finally quiet, in spirits that finally soar. From survival mode to sacred softness, this is the journey that heals not just us, but our world.